Middle-class residents of far-left Democrat-run shithole, I had to correct this on the fly, say they're trapped in unsellable homes surrounded by drug markets. I view this story as a white pill because those of you who've been following me for any amount of time, I'm always pointing out these NIMBYs. These not in my backyard types, like these far left champagne socialists that vote for policies that don't affect them in their gated communities. And as soon as you try to bring what they vote for into their gated communities, they revolt. This is a white pill because it shows that we still win in the end. Even if they're able to keep the things they vote for out of their gated communities, eventually their gated communities get surrounded by what they vote for. And then they cry about that too. Oh my God, we're surrounded by the consequences of how we've been voting, and now we're trapped here. No one's willing to buy our homes, and we can't leave. Oh no, how tragic. Maybe you should have thought about that before you voted for this shit. So I love seeing this. And middle-class residents looking to flee Democrat-run Baltimore cannot escape the shitty because they're trapped in unsellable homes. So let me put it this way. Everyone to the right of Stalin has already left, unless they had a real damn good reason not to. And the only people who are still there are people who voted for this shit and are now mad that they can't run away from the problem they helped create. Good. If we prevent people from running away from the problems they create, we'd have a lot less problems being fucking created. This should be the default. Yeah, if you didn't vote for it, but you let others pick it for you, you still chose this. Yeah, I agree. Homeowners in once stable neighborhoods with some of the highest property taxes in Maryland say their communities are now being plagued by open-air drug markets and skyrocketing crime. Squatters invade vacant properties and criminals are shamelessly doing drugs in the streets and riding dirt bikes across once family-friendly communities, locals say. Well, but at least you get to say you were a good person. So it was all worth it, right? As some homeowners claim they tried to put their homes on the market, but were met with pushback from real estate agents who warned that I can't sell this house because of the high crime. Yeah, it's going to be just like Detroit soon enough, where you could literally try to sell the house for $1, and it's not going to sell. And yeah, you see, I voted, it does nothing. Yeah, that's the point where you actually need to leave. And you don't need to leave the whole state. Like, it's just like TFM says, just like I say, leave the cities. You could, like, even if your state is a blue state, just leave the city. That's often more than enough. Yeah, but if you live in a far left shithole and you always keep getting outvoted by the droolers, just leave. Real estate agents also warn investors and potential home buyers are likely to avoid buying in Baltimore because of crippling tax rates, which the shady allegedly hiked up to combat revenue lost by businesses and residents fleeing the area. Yeah, this is what we call the death spiral. Yes, so you taxed all the rich out of the city. So now you have to raise taxes even further on the few people that are left, which causes even more of them to leave. And then soon enough, all you're left with is people who are stuck there, and they're just barely holding on. This what you guys want? Well, yeah. After a certain point, leaving is the only option. You cannot stay in these shitholes. You just got to remember, it's not your responsibility to fix them. Whatever you do, do not stay out of some sense of obligation. No, man. Like Nomad Capitalist says, go where you're treated best. If you're being treated like shit in the shithole you currently live in, then leave and go to some place where you'll be treated better. All right, locals who haven't spent their entire lives in the shitty are now making massive sacrifices as they struggle to pay their mortgages, taxes, and household bills. Oh, who have spent. Okay. I don't have that income coming in where I can make more money and move. I feel like I'm stuck, trapped here. As Charlene Bees, a lifelong resident of Morrow Park neighborhood, told the paper. Yeah, and see, this is a warning to all the rest of you. This is what happens when you wait too long to leave. Eventually, it gets to the point where the only way you can leave is by like just literally walking away. Like 100% taking a loss on your house and just leaving. You need to sell and move out before it gets this bad. If you wait too long, you're going to be stuck. Now, other residents are afraid they're going to get hurt one day and fear that nothing's getting better in their towns. Well, and like I said on a previous stream, at this point, you can no longer sit around and wait for someone else to come fix the problem for you. You need to get together with your neighbors and fix the problem yourselves. No one's going to come save you. Everyone's leaving. No one's going to be coming back to help you. You're on your own. The sooner you learn that, the better off you'll be. President Orange Man on Monday branded crime in Baltimore as very bad and said the shitty was so far gone. Yeah, that's what happens when you got decades of uninterrupted far left rule. Baltimore has battled population decline for several decades now, causing the shady to see significant loss in revenue. Shitty leaders tried to combat the loss of funds by raising property taxes. Experts say only drove more people to flee. Now, here's what makes it funny, though. Shouldn't you actually need less money if you have less people to take care of as well? And yet these greedy fucks keep raising. Although Baltimore last year recorded its first population increase at 0.13% since current year minus 11, real estate agents are still finding it hard to attract people to the shitty. If a property is in a location where the property tax rate is higher than the surrounding counties, people will avoid it. Real estate consultant Ben Frederick III told the newspaper, and that's true. And especially if the place with the high taxes is just as much of a shithole as the place with the low taxes. Why would anyone move there? Like, you got to be a moron. Holy shit, man. If you're going to be living in squalor anyway, you're going to be living in squalor with lower taxes. Well, another expert, PhD candidate Dan Brennan, alleged the shitty's tax structure is driving people away and discouraging real estate investment. Absolutely. Baltimore assesses value by improved property instead of land, which Brennan claims forces the most affluent to pay the most. Yeah, and see, this just shows you how fucking stupid these people are. The most affluent are also the people with the most means to pack up and leave. You're literally going to go after the people that are most likely to leave? Okay? I mean, we're seeing what the end result of that is now, where everyone who had the ability to leave already left, and now it's a bunch of people who are stuck. Residents, however, are apparently most concerned with the rising drug crisis, which, with one Curtis Bay homeowner alleging the traffic at the drug market on her block is comparable to a morning rush at a fast food drive-thru, except it's not powdered sugar, wink, wink. So the Whammons, who declined to share her identity with the Sun, claims a real estate agent cited the drug market as the reason her home is unsellable. You waited too long. So either they voted for this and got what they voted for, or they waited too long to leave. Now they're stuck. Yeah, once it gets this bad, the only way you're going to leave is by just walking away from your house. You might actually have to put up with the foreclosure. State and shitty leaders are trying to attract newcomers to Baltimore. Their efforts seem to be unsuccessful. Dim Governor Wes Moore last week touted research that hailed Baltimore as the third best metropolitan area for young professionals with college degrees. Oh, dude, these guys, I'll give them credit. They know exactly who the biggest demographic of suckers is, and they're going straight for them. Mayor Brandon Scott, also a dim, of course, promised a Baltimore renaissance when he was sworn in for a second term. Scott vowed to bring violent crime down and address the shitty's vacant housing crisis. Yeah, and none of that's going to happen, but he's going to promise it again for his third term, and these idiots are going to vote for him again. Yeah, we're going to revolutionize the way shitties tackle blight and increase housing stock that families can actually afford to live within our vacant strategy. He added, for decades, there have been promises made to Baltimoreans about the quick fixes and short-term solutions, but they have always been hollow. Many of us long-term Baltimoreans know that all too well. Yeah, now you're literally part of the problem. Now you're the one making the hollow promises, And you're going to keep making them, and you're going to keep getting elected on them, and you're going to keep not delivering so you could keep getting elected again. In March of this year, citing how Baltimore's population grew by 754 people, Scott alleged his administration has finally stabilized the population. I don't think this is the same win you seem to think it is. Today's population figures confirm that Baltimore's renaissance is here, he said, touting a record low number of vacant homes and a historic drop in violence and billions being invested into our neighborhoods. People can feel the progress. My administration will build this on this momentum by continuing our work to promote public safety, accelerate equitable development, and protect our most vulnerable residents, making Baltimore a place more people will be proud to call home. Now, despite the alleged progress, residents are still claiming they don't like Baltimore as it is now and feel there's no way out. Because no, they're absolutely right, actually. There is no way out. If you're still stuck there at this stage, unless you're willing to walk away from your house, that's pretty much it for you, man. Baltimore was once home to the country's highest crime rates, earning it the title of America's murder capital and reputation as a crime-ridden shitty. It still is. The shitty recorded its lowest homicide rate in nearly 15 years in current year -1, with 201 homicides, marking a dramatic 12% decrease from current year -2 and a staggering 41% drop from current year -4 levels. That's still a lot of homiciding going on. Maryland as a whole is becoming safer too, with statewide homicides falling from 519 in current year -2 to 455 in current year -1. So almost half of them are happening in Baltimore still. Almost half of the entire state's homicides are in this one shitty. While violent crimes plummeted from 1,190 to 891. In April of current year, the reports from the U.S. News and World Report no longer include Baltimore among the most dangerous places in America. Is that really because Baltimore became more safe, or is it because other places are becoming more dangerous faster? Because I think it's the latter. Maybe a tiny bit of the former, but mostly the latter. Yeah, New York and Chicago are worse. No, they are. They are. A digital media company released its most dangerous place in the U.S. current year -1 current year list, and normally Baltimore would be in the top 25, but this year didn't make the cut. This is compiled based on the shitty's homicide and property crime rates per 100,000 people. Orange Man on Monday placed the police department in nearby Washington, D.C., around 40 miles from Baltimore under federal control and deployed the National Guard to the nation's capital in an attempt to combat crime. But the president took aim at Baltimore and Oakland, California, as he announced his plan. We have other shitties that are very bad, and you have, of course, Baltimore and Oakland. Well, we don't even mention that anymore. They're so far gone. We're not going to lose our shitties over this. Now, I actually disagree with this mentality at this point. I think it will be a lot more productive to use these cities as a containment zone. We need a containment zone because if you don't have it here, they'll just go somewhere else. Yeah, New York City is Wall Street going for it. Once the big corpus here get to Florida, it's done. Yeah, that is something that, because like one of the main arguments from the left is, oh, but these far left states that you say are parasites like New York and California, they're actually producing more money than they consume. They're subsidizing the poor right-wing states. While that is technically true, the entire reason for that is international trade and international markets. Once the international market starts going through Florida instead, through Texas instead, all of a sudden, these states are no longer going to be bringing in a profit. So yeah, like right now, yeah, they might still be profitable because of all the international trade that goes through them. But once that dries up, so do all your profits. They produce nothing of value. No, the only thing they produce is international commerce. But that could be done pretty much anywhere nowadays. So there's going to be a lot of finding out. We've been in the fuck around stage for so long, but soon we're going to be in the finding out stage. Like we're on the cusp of it, guys. Just wait a little bit longer.